I'll start with a quick review for this book, The Things You Can See Only When You Slow Down. I'll give this book 4 out of 5. I liked how the book is short, or straight to the point, not too much details. Stories are short and, again, straight to the point. They don't usually, sometimes they tell you a long story which you don't really understand the relation between that to the lesson learned. And some of that, I really like some of the insights of the book. There's kind of, he's bringing a topic, and then he has all kinds of insights which are not, they're not connected directly to one another, which is an interesting form of writing, which I was not previously exposed to much. So for good or bad, some ways it gives you a lot of insights, and the other way it's not directly related, so it's kind of like breaks. There's a lot of breaks especially when you listen to it, so it's kind of hard to follow. So for good and bad, I'll talk about it a little more in the notes. Let's see some of the notes. Our mind focuses on what interests it the most. So whatever we found as interesting, we're more likely to focus on it. It's also related in the second one here. We see the world in the eyes of our state of mind. So if we're angry or if we're happy, we're more likely to see the world similarly. If people are more angry, people are more happy. So it's not directly related, but it has some relation, which is like the first one is our mind focuses on what interests it the most. For example, we just bought a new car, and we're more likely to see that model or at least that company around and similar things. Looking at emotions as energy is a good way of overcoming them. Just to form how does it feel, where you feel it. It's a known thing, but it's always good to remind ourselves. It's hard to get our idea across without listening first. Listening first has to be done if you really want to get our idea across, especially if you want to change someone's mind. Being too close or too far in a relationship is not good. Balance is the key. We don't want to be too close because it can get boring, and we find that lack of stimulation. We don't want to be too far because then there is too much space. So balance, as in many other places or realms in life, is the key. Don't wait for people to change, act first. So in some way, lead the way. Don't wait for people to do whatever you want them to do. Just do it, and hopefully they follow. Americans are more interested in the behavior of people, while Koreans are more interested in where you live and how it's like. I like the distinction. I'm sure it's not only American, maybe it could be an individualist, collective, or it could be a cultural thing, a Western versus an Eastern culture. But Americans are more interested in the behavior of people. What do they do? How do they feel? While Koreans are more interested in the environment in some way. Where do they live? What is it like? How does it look like? Interesting distinction. It makes sense that Scandinavian countries are good at interior design since it's a colder, while Italians are good at exterior design or apparel. Well, it's a good insight. The more you spend time inside, the more likely you are to find good things, or you get better at it. That's why Scandinavians are better in interior design, while Italians, which is where it's a little hotter, are more specialized in apparel, which is exterior design, because that's what they do most, or more of their time. So that you can ask a question, why in even hotter environments, it's like in Africa, they don't specialize in that. They would supposed to, but they don't, so I don't know if it holds water. But it's an interesting idea. There will always be someone who dislikes us, just as we don't like everyone. We don't like everyone, so no wonder someone doesn't like us. So we should not be him. amazed by it. A bad driver breaks often just as in conversation. Interfering with our own stories breaks the flow. That's how a bad driver, that's how you identify a bad driver. The more often they break. Similar in conversations, when we interfere with our stories, sometimes it breaks the flow. That also, you can ask the question, what about, sometimes stories are the base or that foundation of stories. But I guess to some of a conversation, I guess some conversation are not necessarily that, and then it's kind of interfering. Side note, the book is mostly made of short insights for good and bad. So there's like a short, so again, it gives, usually I noticed the pattern is he talks a little bit about a topic, let's say about love or religion, and brings a story or two, and then he has a lot of short insights which are not related to one another, so almost like in sentence form or two sentences, and a few short insights, which are good. But as I said in the review part, sometimes it could be a little not misleading, like I'm trying to find the right word. I feel like it's not continuous. It's not. It's kind of interrupt the flow, similar to what he said. Like there's breaks in the conversation. That's what I felt. It's like I have to change my mind kind of rather quickly because it doesn't follow. It's not the same thing, so it quickly changes. I wish maybe it was a little longer. It was talking a little bit more about each insight, which gives you a little more wrap around it. So I felt like it's a little too short. You need to like a little more, maybe pause. You can pause, but I don't want to pause. So maybe talk a little bit more about it would be better. And going back to this, but what's the good part about short insights is that it gives you a lot of information rather quickly. So it's for good and bad. A good leader needs people to disagree with them to expose their blind spots. So it's not good if people always agree with you because you don't really learn and you have blind spots always. So we have to find those blind spots. So a smart leader, a good leader, surround himself with people who disagree with him. Not only, but some at least. That's the last one here. The purpose of religion is to control oneself. I like this idea. There's many religions, but the bottom line is that you can see something you can see is control over oneself, which is many religions tend to do. Interesting insight as well. That's it with the notes. I enjoyed that book. Like I said, it's short, straight to the point, and some good insights. I would definitely recommend. Thank you.